Hey folks, quick disclaimer about Greasy Says, my new show about being a game developer for 15 years who's brown. Okay, Greasy Says contains explicit language, adult situations, and viewer discretion is strongly advised. Right? Greasy Says is supposed to be a comedic take on what it's like to be in the gaming industry from my perspective, but I'm not out here trying to make people feel uncomfortable just for the sake of it. So, to sum it up, I have a potty mouth. Don't let your kids listen to this shit. And kings and queens above 18 only. Let's try that. All right? Lay is...
Haha, let's get this party started with the professional.
Greasy Says.
What up, everybody? And welcome back to Greasy Says. Greasy Says. It's a show about a brown guy's perspective on the gaming industry. And he's been working in the industry for 15 years plus. Seen a lot of shit. I noticed a lot of people don't talk about a lot of shit. So I'm gonna talk about some of that stuff. People say I curse a lot. This is true. No fucking lie. Welcome back if you're back. Thank you for coming back. If you're a new listener, hey, what up? How you doing? You good? Great. Greasy Says is fun. People who listen to Greasy Says are smart. Trust me on this. How y'all doing? Y'all doing good? I'm doing great. I'm super into lawn care now. Fucking random, right? Absolutely. But I'm into it. I'm really into it. I'm having fun. My kid is like crawling around, what they call cruising for the people who don't have kids, because I didn't give a fuck about kids until I had one. So I get being the person who's like, oh God, I'm so sick of kids. But I have one now, so everyone who has kids has to fucking talk about their kids. I'm sorry. My kid's cruising, which is holding on to shit and walking, but like not walking on his own. He'll bust his ass if he tries to walk on his own. But he'll walk along a fucking couch all day long, back and forth. It's real cool to watch, man. It's crazy. This time starts flying once you have a kid. This shit is mad. What else has been going on? Summer's almost here, y'all. Summer's almost here. And motherfuckers are going into Target with no masks on now. People are starting to get back to like regular. And some people are not ready. Some people are freaked out by the end of the pandemic. I gotta say, I don't know if I'm one of those people, but I know a lot of people who are freaked out by motherfuckers walking around with no masks on. Because you ain't know, somebody might just say they vaccine and they not really vaccinated. You know what I mean? But I was telling a homie the other day, there comes a time when you just gotta rip that Band-Aid off. You gotta get back to it. You know what I mean? Fuck it. Let's just live life. Let's fucking do this thing. You know what I mean? I wanna see people smile again. I wanna see people give me a fucking fucked up look because I'm brown again. Yeah, no. I'll pass on that shit. Keep your mask on if you're doing that shit. Oh, you know what? I should tell all my listeners out there, all fucking 5 of y'all. Just playing. More people joining all the time. I love this shit. Let's keep blowing Greasy up. Tell everybody about Greasy Says. You got a homie you think might be into this shit. You need to brighten somebody's day. You want to listen to this fucking asshole, Greasy, talk about shit? Send them to Greasy Says. Where? At TikTok, Instagram, Facebook under Greasy Says, and you can hit me up on fucking Twitter under M-Cue, or check out my Spotify on M-Cue. Hate on me, love on me, do whatever the fuck you need to do. But I need to take some time off at some point. Wifey, my unbelievable, beautiful, amazing mother of my child, wifey, brought up the other day, dog, you need to take some time off of the show, because You already do a bunch of other shit. You don't know how to stop. So you need to schedule in breaks in the show so you could catch yourself. I'm like, yo, thank God if you believe in that for my wife, because I would just kill myself doing shit nonstop. So I'm gonna take some time off. I'm thinking like, I don't know, I might do like, what, 20 episodes a season? Let's start there. 20 episodes a season. If you think I'm full of shit, tell me. Reach out to me on the shit I said. Instagram, Greasy says. 20 episodes, right? And I'll make sure that I don't leave during like the fucked up times a year for some people, which is like Thanksgiving and like the holidays, like the break. I don't know if you're a Christmas person or whatever, but that break, because you might have to be around family and you might need some distraction. You might need some greasy motherfucker in your ear for like half an hour just to catch your head and laugh a little bit. I ain't gonna abandon you all during those times, right? I'll make sure I get you all on those times, but I might take some other random fucking time off. What the fuck do you care? You don't know how to do shit. You just listening to shit. So, you know what I mean? So, but I ain't gonna let you down when your family's around. You dig? Right. In other news, y'all see Urkel made some weed? Urkel. Did I do that? That fucking Urkel from Family Matters. Family Matters? That shit? I don't know. I didn't really watch that shit. Urkel got his own weed company, own weed strain. His own Purple Urkel strain. I love that shit, man. Good for that guy. Good for that guy. We need more black-owned weed manufacturers, weed dispensaries, everything. We need more black and brown owned, financed from the bottom up in this fucking industry, because man, they locked up enough people, enough black and brown people smoking weed who they still ain't fucking release after this shit became legal. And it's hard as fuck to open a weed spot and sell weed, or open a weed business or a weed industry if you have felonies on you. So if you come out of jail, you fucked. If you try to do some shit you were good at before this shit was legal. So they just got a lot of white fucking suits running around who own weed. This bullshit. They didn't make that shit good and popular to begin with. They were trying to tear that. They was probably backing the people who was trying to tear that shit down. And now they banking on it, just like bankers bank on shit. Don't even get me fucking started. I'll make a whole episode on this intro alone. I don't even talk about no fucking games. You know what I mean? Whew, I'm starting kind of hot. This time. Let me bring it down. My name is Greasy, aka M-Cue. Let's start the show.
Today's key is brought to you by Steve.
Remember, if you want me to do an episode in a particular key, just reach out to me on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. Greasy says, all right?
Thank you, Steve.
Question time.
Hey, Greasy! How do you feel about waste in video games?
Wasted. It's not just how you die in GTA. It can be hard to separate yourself enough from the things you love to get an honest perspective. You know, you might watch a dude get treated like shit, borderline abused by his partner, and to yourself you think,
How the fuck are you just taking this abuse? She treats you like shit and you just take it.
I love games, and I love making games. But the gaming industry can be a fucked up abusive partner sometimes. Now, if we pause here, I'm sure if you work in the gaming industry, and if I gave you 5 minutes of silence, you could write a list about how fucked up the gaming industry is, and how many ways it can be a damaging industry. But I want to talk about one thing in particular: waste. The thing that tech and gaming companies refuse to admit. that they are incredibly wasteful. How? Okay. First, go back to my work from home episode, and I talk about how having an office is wasteful to rent and run. Offices use a lot of electricity, water, bandwidth, even when they're not being used.
Wasted.
Second, we still ship games on discs or carts, physical product. Discs and carts cost lots to make. Discs and carts are made of plastic and precious metals. Discs and carts, once they've been lovingly played or held at arm's distance due to their stenches, are tossed in the trash, added to a plastic vortex in the ocean, and eaten by a fucking seagull.
Mine.
Wasted.
Third, and this one may be a new take, and I may be the only person who feels this way, but who knows? We'll see. The gaming industry also wastes people. If you've worked in the gaming industry for some time, you know that the industry can chew you up and spit you the fuck out. We talk about things like crunch, where people are basically forced to work insane hours for very long periods of time, sometimes months at a time. We talk about how unhealthy game developers can become when they've been working on a game for 4+ years and their diet is shit, their exercise regimen is shit, they feel like shit, and they age faster. Real talk, I know a few cats who look like they were 50 when they were 35. I'll talk about burnout real soon in another episode, don't worry. But still.
Wasted.
Fourth, let's talk about conventions. Granted, COVID-19 kind of shut down a few of them. And many of the big developers have started doing their own conferences, with Nintendo leading the way by holding a completely remote conference. But conferences are incredibly wasteful. Check it. Swag bags, booths, costumes, sculptures, animatronics, fabrics, foam, paint, 1 million pounds of duct tape to make your fucking cosplay sword, sound pollution, electricity, water, waste management, 50 million tons of makeup. The list goes on. And where does it all end up? In a dumpster, in a landfill, in the ocean, inside of a fucking seagull, pooped onto the beach, grabbed by your toddler, eaten by your toddler. Now your kid has microplastics in his belly.
Wasted.
Fifth, collector's editions.
Wasted.
Sixth, peripherals. I've made games that require peripherals, y'all. I will absolutely admit my guilt to the increase in plastic in the goddamn ocean. This is why I can tell you this shit. I've wrestled with the guilt of creating all this fucking waste. Games go out of style. People throw away shit that's out of style. And then we just restart the manufacturing process all over again. Every unique controller is a cast that must be made, a factory that's got to be turned on, and a bunch of resources that must be wasted, just so I can pilot a fucking spaceship badly in Elite Dangerous. It's mad fun, no doubt, but it's still wasteful. So,
Wasted.
humans are naturally wasteful creatures. Facts. In fact, I think all living creatures are a little bit wasteful. But I think there are steps we can take in making games that will help us produce less waste. I think the Nintendo Direct conference is a step in the right direction. And I think more and more companies will follow their lead, hopefully. But they're not doing it for the prevention of waste. They're doing it for budgetary reasons. And that's the problem with so many tech companies and gaming companies out there. They're only interested in preservation if there's a really good economic reason for it. I get it though. I'm not a CEO and I'm not doing any prostitute laundry. So what the fuck do I know? Prostitute laundry. But imagine if Sony started a program where every PlayStation disc could be shipped back free of charge to Sony for recycling. They could even offer credit. It doesn't even have to be a lot of credit to players who choose to use this service. And players could turn right around and use that credit to buy games in the PlayStation Store. It's just a localized version of the GameStop trade-in program.
And we all know how discs and envelopes work because Netflix did it for years successfully. And then imagine if Sony had to turn around and use those discs to manufacture new discs. That would be crazy. But I don't think there's a way to make Sony do something like that without government intervention. But that would be one hell of a PR move, wouldn't it?
Reflection.
Y'all want to know something about me? I'm sorry about the clickety clacking in the background sometimes. It's a weird setup. It's also a podcast. Let's just take it easy, okay? Let me tell you something about myself. I've been involved in the gaming industry in some way or another, way fucking more than 15 years that I always talk about and everything. Like, when I was in college, no, fuck that. Before I was in college. No, that's not true. When I was in college, I worked at like multiple, at the time, EB Games. Probably no one even remembers what EB Games is anymore. It's just like GameStop, brick and mortar fucking video game store. And when I was coming up and when I was about that age, that place was fucking a magical oasis to me. It was like, oh shit, this is my mecca. All the games, all the magazines, all the guys who know about games. You might catch a girl in there once in a while. You know what I mean? Like, wow, this is fucking wild. So I like got a job at an EB Games because I just wanted to be involved in games. And I got that fucking job because I didn't take no for an answer. I literally told a bitch, you can't find nobody as good as me. Like, that was my interview. I walked in the spot. I walked into the EB and I was like, listen, I want a job here. I know everything about games. There's nothing you can ask me that I don't fucking know about games. So, like, you would be making a huge mistake if you don't hire me right now. And, like, she called me back, like, the next day. She was cool. She's a Jamaican lady. She was mad fucking cool. She would hit on a motherfucker like crazy, though. Yeah. So, my point, Jesus Christ, my point...
Thank you.
Is I worked in sort of retail for games. Even retail. I mean, without a doubt, we probably all know retail is incredibly wasteful, right? We used to get fucking so standees, like a giant fucking 6-foot Boba Fett made of cardboard, right? To stand up in a fucking window. At least half of the shit they would send, we would never even use. We would just store it. And then a year later, we would fucking throw it away. So even at a retail level, there's waste. The games that get shipped to like a GameStop or like a game store that don't get sold, get shipped back to like quote unquote storage or headquarters or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Just a giant storage facility, and it just sits there. Doesn't do anything. Fucking, there's a fucking brand new copy of Siphon Filter out there sitting in a warehouse somewhere wrapped in plastic that no one will ever play. And it will stay there way beyond you and I's lifespan. There will be a CD of Siphon Filter in that fucking warehouse. What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? Right? Come on. We have to stand for more than this, no? I got fired from some shit because I was like, yeah, I remember that shit. I used to work in the EB Games, like, relatively shitty employee, but good, like a nice guy and generally good, but had other shit going on. It was a job. And I remember there was a moment when I had like a show and I wanted to do the show and I had to go to work. And I had like missed a couple times getting into work late because I had shows. And I was on the phone with my boss, and my boss was like, yo, you need to make a decision. Like, what are you doing? Like, are you in this music shit or are you in this fucking
retail shit. Jesus Christ, I fucking hate retail so much. You guys, you don't understand. Let me get real close. I fucking hate retail. I will literally kill myself rather than work in fucking retail. Anyway, so I was like, yeah, I gotta choose music, bro. And like, thank you for everything, but you know, goodbye forever. And that was the end of that. I never saw that dude again. He was a good guy though. He listened to my shit. He listened to my music. He used to support me and shit. But he had a decision to make, as managers do. What the fuck am I talking about, guys? What the fuck am I talking about?
I have no idea.
Should I stop? Should I just stop?
Yeah, yeah,
I'll come back.
yeah, do that.
There's a YouTuber out there. Her name is Belinda Carr. Absolutely check her shit out. Just check her shit out. I think she's super smart and she has a lot of radical ideas and she is unafraid to talk about shit, which I really like. If you couldn't tell, I'm into that. She talks about waste in architecture and in buildings and construction. And she always does tests about whether, you know, being green is actually like real, like if you can actually be green. And like she kind of talks about how so many processes of manufacturing are wasteful, and I've been super digging on her stuff. And her name is Belinda Carr on YouTube. Check her shit out. And it kind of inspired me to start thinking about how waste affects the industry that I'm in. You know, like think about the GameCube. Remember the GameCube had those tiny ass fucking CDs? That's a special CD to make. Like that ain't some shit you just get. You know what I mean? So it's expensive to set all that shit up. And besides collectors, who really has GameCube discs anymore? You know? Where did most of them end up? Seagulls. Oh, I heard about this other shit. Do you know that there's microplastics in our fruit? Yeah. Makes sense, no? Plastic is everywhere. Plastic is like, all right, let's say you're going to plant a bed. Sorry, if you're not into gardening or you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I'm going to talk about gardening for the next 2 minutes. So either turn the volume down or turn on some music in the background or some shit. About to be some gardening. All right. So you know in a bed, right? You dig down and you put down landscape fabric, which is usually plastic. It's made of plastic. Or you have rubber mulch, which is popular now because it never fucking breaks down. Plastic. You got some seedlings in a pot. It's some tomato seedlings that you're going to plant in your little garden. And you put that motherfucker in the ground. But it's been exposed to plastic. And then you fucking water your little fucking tomato friend with a hose. The hose is definitely made of plastic. And the nozzle might be made of plastic too. So the water, you know, might be infused with plastic. Little tomato grows up to be a big tomato. Big tomato is like...
I feel like getting eaten.
So big tomato gets eaten. And big tomato, because of all that plastic in the way that little tomato was brought up, little tomato was infused with plastic. So big tomato is infused with plastic. So when you eat big tomato,
Ow.
guess what? You have plastic in you now. Which is fine. Actually, I don't give a fuck. Like, we deserve to eat plastic. Like, we should be filled with fucking plastic. We're assholes. But it's crazy that even food, has microplastics in it. So what's the big deal about organic, genetically modified food, fake food? We should be eating fake food, no? Come on. We're eating plastic fruit, eat plastic fucking kumquats. Let's eat some fucking Beyond Meat shit or some shit, you know what I mean? What's the big deal?
Inject me with the fluids. I'm ready for the fluids.
So my wife sent me this this article from Academic Times. Check this shit out, okay? Scientists have apparently found a way to convert the world's most popular plastic, which is polyethylene, which is in a lot of shit. Polyethylene's in a lot of stuff. In a jet fuel and other liquid hydrocarbon products. Cool article if you read it. They could break down polyethylene using like various metals and shit like that. And they could even fine tune it. So if you need jet fuel, like they could like fine tune the chemistry or whatever the fuck they're doing to make jet fuel. You need some fucking diesel fuel, they can fucking tweak the knobs and boom, you got some diesel fuel from plastic, from polyethylene. Dope, right? Really cool. Great way to turn waste into something beneficial. But check the fucking teeth head, right? Check this. Fucking, great. So you can turn plastic into fuel. Let's just say they could tune this plastic fuel to run for cars. I'm just doing a domino effect thing, devil's advocate domino effect, okay? You got your plastic fuel, sweet, it's recycled from plastic. You put the shit in your car. You go driving down the street in your combustion engine car, filled with plastic made, like fuel made from plastic. The emissions that you create from burning that fuel, isn't that like microplastic in the air? Like, you know, like smog is car farts. This car farts plastic now, plastic smoke, right? So like plastic goes up in the air and like now we're breathing in this plastic from the emissions, right? Or am I wrong? And doesn't that plastic air now mix with the air that makes the rain when it like, you know, does its thing in the sky? And now we got what, like half plastic clouds raining plastic rain? Plastic rain. I mean, and then boom, seagull, you toddler, plastic. Fucked up. But I mean, it's still cool that they're trying to find ways to make plastic into other things. But burning it in a jet? I don't know, guys. Seems like a slippery slope. But very cool article. Yo, more and more people have been writing in to the show, which is amazing. I want more and more people to write in to the show. So do me a favor, tell one person right now, just send one person that you know one episode of Greasy Says. Just send them the link to an episode. Say, check this shit out. You'd be surprised how many people would do this and check it out. And I could get even more people writing into me, asking me hilarious questions or telling me hilarious things. This one is hilarious from a listener, Mike. He said the cast is good. Otherwise, it's good intentioned folks like me cornering you at the bar after a few drinks to talk about heavy topics. So recording it is giving info on your terms instead of mine. Let's break down what he said. Like, this has happened to me a million times at bars and shit. Like, we all getting faded, we all having a great time, and then one person wants to talk to me about race, and I'm there like half drunk trying to talk about this heavy ass topic I didn't even want to fucking talk about with somebody who doesn't understand my fucking perspective. So like, it's a shit show. It's always a fucking shit show. And then you're talking to each other like,
Yeah, but I just want to make this one point. I just think that...
you know, you're fucking fucked up. That's why you had the balls to come over here and talk to me about some shit like this. You wouldn't have done that if we were sober. But Mike makes a good point. I'm telling you the perspective of a brown game developer on my terms. My perspective on my terms. That's a very powerful thing. And I love that he picked that out. He like realized that off the kick. I was like, yo, what the fuck? So thank you, Mike. Yes, I am recording it so I can give info on my terms instead of anyone else's. And I think that's very powerful. A very powerful tool. I love this show. This show is great. And Mike loves it too. So tell one friend of yours, send one of your friends a link to one episode, your favorite episode of Greasy Says, all right? On that note, let's wind it down with a little bit of meditation.
Medicate and meditate.
This week, we will once again practice our gratitude. The exercise is simple. Pick 5 things in your life that you are grateful for. Let's start. 1. The beach. I am so grateful to have access to the beach. To start your day by going to the beach just sets a tone. It's like doing yoga. It sets a tone for the rest of the day. It's beautiful. 2. I'm grateful for the stop video button. I love being in a meeting or being on a call with a bunch of people and just being able to hit stop video and make everybody not see me. Be invisible. I can be invisible. It is the power of invincibility. Stop video. I'm very grateful for it. 3. I'm grateful for New York pita chips. I don't know how hot your pita chip game is, but my shit's on fire. And it's all because of New York pita chips. And I'm not gonna tell you the flavor because I don't want you fucks buying up all of those pita chips. But the New York pita chips are the bomb. 4. I'm grateful for a door I can close. I come up here and I act like a fucking lunatic in my studio and I yell at the corner, literally at a vent in the corner. But I can close the door and be crazy up here by myself. Even though people come in all the time, be opening the door and shit, but it's nice that I have the door to open and close. So I'm grateful for that. And 5. I'm grateful for quiet moments. I don't get a lot of those these days, but those moments where you could listen to your favorite track or just literally do not put your phone down and just breathe for 30 seconds straight. I'm very grateful for moments like that. They're sprinkled throughout the day. You gotta take them as they come. But I am so grateful for those moments of silence. Reach out to me and tell me what you were grateful for this week.
It's the end of the fucking show, yeah. It's the end of the show, yeah. It's the end of the fucking show, yeah. It's the end of the show, yeah. It's the end of the fucking show, yeah. It's the end of the show, yeah. It's the intro of the fucking show, yeah.
He's right. It's the end of another episode of Greasy Says. Episode 8. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Remember, you can hit me up, ask me questions, tell me what key you want the show in, remind me of old games that I should check out. Maybe I'll remember that game. Or if you find articles about plastic, which I think I said plastic like at least 40 times in this episode. There's a lot of plastics. If you have nothing to do and you want to go count how many plastics I said, don't do that. You can read a book or something. It's way more useful to do that. You don't need to do this again. Anyway, reach out to me on Greasy Says on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. That's GREASYSAYS. Or under M-Cue, M-CUE. And that's on Spotify, where you can find all my music. And on a little place called Bandcamp. And until next time, Greasy people, thanks for coming out. Like, subscribe, comment, give me feedback. Tell me that you love me deeply. And until next time, it's me, Greasy, checking out with the room key.
Laters.